Alright, so Neon versus Fnatic. This is actually a lower bracket game. Previously, Neon did really well against Fnatic. The drafts have been solid. Fnatic, they weren't playing so good with DJ and iceiceice. Let's take a look at this draft and kind of analyze as to why they ban and pick what they do and how, you know, their previous encounters has led up to this, right? And maybe also how you can apply that to your own personal game. So we got Neon. They ban out Morphling, Timber, Trent, and Ember. These three heroes mainly are signature heroes of Fnatic. The Ember, Timber, Morphling, and really good fighters. And then the Trend Protector is actually a really new ban. iceiceice has been playing a lot of that. What he does with it is he goes to the off lane, he gets some farm, then he TPs to the safe lane, he makes sure the enemy can't push the safe lane, and he keeps healing up the tower with his Trent armor. And it's super annoying for the enemy to try to take over that tower and also invade the enemy jungle and expand their farming and map control. And on the side of Fnatic here, they ban out Bat, Lycan, NP, and Void Spray. These three heroes has been played quite a bit by Neon. And Batrider, I think, is just overall a hero that Fnatic auto bans every game, especially since iceiceice actually doesn't play Batrider. I've known this for many years now. He's played it here and there, but he doesn't play it that well, and he really doesn't like playing it. So they just kind of just ban it whenever it's a meta hero. And for first pick, they took the Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain has been probably the most popular hero at the moment because it can be played in many different positions. And Neon countered that Queen pick with a Tiny and a Grimstroke. Both these heroes are really good at lane shoving. That's something that Neon prioritizes a lot, which I've noticed recently. And Tiny and Grimstroke can provide a lot of kill threat on Queen of Pain. If Queen of Pain blinks in and Tiny follows up with a stun avalanche combo, then the Queen of Pain can be left with, like, let's say 30% HP, making it very awkward for her, and she can just be cleaned up in a fight. And this is a very similar opener that they did against TNC as well. Then Fnatic counter out with the Clock pick. The Clock is a really good position 4 hero currently. I feel like because they can go to the offlane, secure farm. There's a way that you can build Clockwork with level 2 cogs at level 3, which can burn a lot of mana as well. Clock overall pretty good against Grimstroke. Grimstroke can't get out of the cogs when he gets hooked, so it's also a very good way to find him and kill him off. Then Tiny, if he ever uses Toss, he can't also toss the Clockwork out. If he gets hooked, he will also die. And Clock, Queen of Pain offlane can be a really powerful combo too. And then after that, Neon going with a Puck pick because that's something that Clockwork can't deal with that easily. And at the same time, it's really good against Queen of Pain mid lane. So they're already picking a hero that can do good against Queen mid, make sure that's covered in their draft. And Coil obviously making Queen of Pain not able to blink out during the duration of it, which can be very annoying for Quap. So another counter pick to the Queen of Pain with that Puck, and also a hero who doesn't get killed off by Clockwork if he does get clogged. And then to counter that, Fnatic go with the Chen pick. It's not really a counter to Puck, nor a counter to any of these heroes, but Chen in general is just a really good laner and can build up these aura items that's kind of missing on Fnatic, like a hero who can build up these aura items. Chen hasn't been doing too hot lately, but I feel like in this game, it's going to be very similar situation because these heroes can clear the Chen creeps rather easily. So we'll see what jabz will do this game with the Chen, because I think this Chen is going to be a position 5 Chen for sure, because you don't really play Chen in other roles. I have seen it in other roles, but especially in this kind of game, you're not going to want to put in other roles because there's too much wave clear on the side of Neon. Then Neon go ahead and pick Bloodseeker. Now this Bloodseeker pick is also another counter to Queen of Pain, but it's also a very similar draft to what they played against TNC in game number 3, where they really rolled over them. And what this Bloodseeker does is it makes a really strong early game and mid game fighting combo with these heroes. So you got all these wave clear, all these spamming spells that can build up Bloodseeker's thirst damage, and then he can just go into the clashes and, you know, clean up, so to say. And with the Puck, who can coil and lock these heroes down, Bloodseeker can have a really good time casting his second skill, you know, get this big explosive AoE damage and team fight that Fnatic are really not well equipped to face at the moment. So Fnatic need to figure out a way how to dodge these heroes in the fights. And then they go with a Dragonite pick on the side of Fnatic. So this is going to be their frontline tower taking hero. And because of this Puck pick, they feel like there is a lane that the DK can go to and can get pretty much free farm, because DK is known to be a pretty good counter against Puck, not only during the laning stage but also during the mid late game, where you can get that nice stun on him that can lock down the Puck and kill him. But during the laning stage, Breathe Fire on Puck will make him do less damage, and Dragonite with higher armor, it's really difficult for Puck to harass him down. And Puck kind of needs to outlast hit you and also harass you down in lanes for it to be a very good, let's say for example, mid laner, right? And For the last pick here, we get an Ursa from Fnatic, and I am so surprised that Ursa even made it this far in the draft, because this hero is probably considered the best carry right now in the game, I would say, because this Battle Fury build allows him to scale very quickly and get levels, and then once he hits that timing where he gets those extra Fury swipes from his talents, so he has like 9 Fury swipe hits, he just becomes an absolute monster. And late game, it's really hard to actually outcarry an Ursa too. Good laning stage, good build up for farming items, and then a good mid late game with his talents just allows him to scale so well throughout the game. This Battle Fury build is just so good on Ursa. And I feel like with an Ursa pick, they always have the potential to come back in the game and also be able to kill like any super farmed heroes because of that passive damage build up from the Ursa. And Neon at this point are going to be in a really weird situation because they're probably thinking about putting the puck in the offlane against the Ursa, so the passive is not gonna be too annoying because Ursa's really good against melee heroes. And then they're gonna need to pick another mid hero who's really good against Dragon Knight and the Quap, no matter what they pick. And they're gonna go with the Pugna pick here. Okay, so maybe they're still gonna put the puck mid and then go with a Pugna into the offlane. Rappy here, he's actually really good at playing Pugna. He's played a lot of Pugna. And Decrepify is going to be a great tool against Ursa, so you can just sit in the back, kind of just use your Decrepify on whoever the Ursa jumps. But the problem I see here for Neon's draft is Clockwork, this pick that came out really early in the game, is actually a really good counter against Pugna. I'm not sure if Fnatic preemptively picked this Clock so that Neon won't go for the Pugna route, because they noticed Neon pick Pugna a lot these last games that they played, and Clockwork can just like, you know, hook into the Pugna early game, and there's no way to actually save this Pugna if you look on the side of Neon here. The only way that the Pugna is getting saved is if Neon gets overly farmed and they can actually burst this Clock when he hooks in. There's a lot of mind games that went on to this draft, that's for sure. And it's going to be a DK versus a Puck mid, and there's going to be a Quap and Clock offlane against Bloodseeker plus a Grimstroke. I think this Bloodseeker Grimstroke could do really well if they actually spam their skills from level 1, but if they don't, then I think the Quap plus Clockwork is going to get a pretty good lane there. And then it's going to be a Pugna Tiny versus the Ursa and the Chen bottom, where I think the Ursa is going to pretty much free farm in this lane. There shouldn't be too many issues for him to farm up, because there's not a whole lot of pressure that's going to be applied from a Pugna Tiny. Ursa is a quite tanky hero and pretty fast as well in the safe. Overall, I would say Fnatic's draft is looking really good, but Neon, if they can get away with the early game, like if they can really snowball the early game, their mid game is insanely powerful, whereas Bloodseeker can just pretty much snowball out of control and become impossible to deal with at some point. But overall, I do feel like Fnatic's lineup is better going into the late game, and I do expect Fnatic to execute it too. Alright, boys, we got Fnatic versus Neon. This is the game number 2 draft. Whatever we expected from game number 1's draft went exactly as we thought. And game number 2, we're going to see how these teams will adjust, especially Neon, because they're the ones who lost the game. So they're the ones who are going to be forced to adjust their drafts and their style of play, maybe. Where Fnatic are kind of like okay with what they were doing already, right? For Fnatic, surprisingly, they're the only ones who actually changed in the first phase ban. The Queen of Pain, they banned it out this time. Last game, they actually used the Queen of Pain for themselves. Apart from that, everything else is the same. This time around, Fnatic first picked the Chen. They felt like Chen was very effective in game number 1, and they think that Neon didn't do very well against it. So they don't mind taking it again. Neon picked Tusk and Phoenix to counter this Chen pick. Now, this is not like any direct counters to Chen. I think Phoenix is pretty decent against Chen because he can't really kill the egg that easily. But the Tusk Phoenix is just a really good support combo that can roam around together and get kills on the map. Like Phoenix can provide kill threat in the safe lane, Tusk can provide kill threat in the off lane, or if when they go together, they can always provide a lot of kill threat on the map, right? So it's a very good active support combo with the Tusk and the Phoenix. Then Fnatic instantly pick up the Death Prophet. So this time, both teams going for very, very different strats to what they had in game 1. The DP pick is like really good in team fighting, can silence the Phoenix. If the Tusk goes on a mid lane, you can siphon like 2 heroes, so you can heal up and buy time for your allies to TP in and help you. So there's also that, but it could be a little bit finicky playing against Tusk the DP. It's not, I wouldn't say it's like some direct counter or something. The matchup can pretty much go both ways. The good synergy there is that DP and Chen, where Chen can provide some extra healing for the DP and support for the DP, keeping her alive, allowing her to do all that damage with her ultimate. And then Neon pick up an Ursa right after the banning stage there. They've actually got rid of the Clockwork. They felt like DJ's Clockwork was very annoying to deal with. And then they picked the Ursa. They wanted to take that before Fnatic would take the Ursa again. So this time around, I feel like Neon already setting themselves up for a good late game by just picking up the Ursa. Then Fnatic go with an Earthshaker pick, really solid disable. This Earthshaker can also allow the DP to become an offlaner because you got some protection for her. You know, overall good disables, really good with Chen too. So you have this insanely strong 5-man team fighting combo with the Shaker. Unfortunately though, for Fnatic's draft, they don't really have something that deals that well with the Phoenix Egg. So they're probably going to look to get that later in the draft. Neon, after this Earthshaker pick, it doesn't really show that much, but they will go for this offlane hero here so they can save their mid laner for the last pick. Alright, and Neon go with the Void Spirit pick. So the reason for this pick here is so that their draft is still flexible, where they can put the Void Spirit middle or the offlane, but at the same time, it's not a hero that Fnatic can just straight up counter, like 1-for-1. Because Void Spirit doesn't really have any like super hard counters in terms of cores that can be played as a mid and a carry. They're just going to take that Void Spirit, they're going to wait for Fnatic to pick 2 heroes, and then Neon will decide whether this Void Spirit will be the mid laner or the offlane hero. And Fnatic are going to go with the Dazzle. So that Dazzle can be flex between mid and offlane, and so can the DP. And they're going to do that depending on whatever mid lane that Neon has. Most likely, this Dazzle is going to be the offlaner with the Earthshaker. And I think that's going to provide a lot of pressure onto the Ursa, kind of slow down his farming, because if Ursa tries to get aggressive on Dazzle, there's always that heal bomb and the poison and the Earthshaker fissuring him off. There's a lot of ways that you can stop the Ursa from coming into the Dazzle. And Dazzle at the same time can be harassing this Ursa quite a lot. So Neon banned out this anti-mage. 20 Savage did play AM before, and his AM is really good. He farms very fast with that hero. We saw him play anti-mage yesterday, where he had a Battle Fury Manta Butterfly at 22 minutes. That might have been the fastest timing I've ever seen for an anti-mage in a professional game. I mean, Fnatic had to pick the carry here, so they're gonna think very hard about what ban to make that Neon can last pick that can counter their carry as well. This is a really hard pick in this position for Fnatic because you're fighting against Ursa, right? So you're thinking like, how can you outcarry this Ursa? And there's still one more pick that can counter you. Because right now, a lot of teams are having a really difficult time thinking about how to counter a carry Ursa. Because it might just be the strongest carry, very reliable in the laning stage. You know, can flash farm with the Battle Fury and just scales super hard, right? Like a month ago, people were laughing about Ursa being a Battle Fury hero, but it's so good. And Fnatic are gonna go with the Wraith King pick for the last pick here. They're really committing into this fighting 5-man tower pushing strategy with strong team fights. And the Mars ban here is because of the Phoenix. They wanted to have like a really strong offlane maybe on Neon that can protect the Phoenix. You know, you got that nice arena with the egg, and it could be really difficult for a Death Prophet to fight in there. So now that they got the Wraith King pick on Fnatic, they got some pretty cool combo with Skeletons, Dazzle heal, also a really good hero to frontline for the Death Prophet and Dazzle. You know, you just want to be very tanky and upfront, giving vision for your Dazzle and DP to be able to do their thing in the clashes. The Dazzle also helps the DP quite a lot, staying alive. And Neon gonna go for a last pick, Ancient Apparition. Oh my. There's a lot of heals that come out of Fnatic. Pretty much 4 out of 5 of the heroes on Fnatic have some sort of healing. And with this Apparition pick, it's going to be a position 5 AA. It's going to be a position 3 Phoenix. This was completely unexpected, a position 3 Phoenix to come out, but that position 5 Apparition, even Fnatic, they banned the Mars. They thought that it's going to be a position 3 last pick here, but that A pick, that's going to do a lot of work in this game, especially if he has a good laning or a quick level 6, because there's plenty of disables that can come out of the side of Neon. You know, you got shards from the Tusk, you got the Snowball, you got the Void Spirit with his Remnant. This game is a lot more closer than the game 1 draft, where I felt like Fnatic had a much superior late game because of the Ursa DK co-op combo. This game, I feel like Neon have a very good late game as well because of the Ursa. But if Fnatic can somehow start snowballing with their Dazzle DP Wraith cores who are really good at taking objectives and staying alive. I think it's going to be very difficult for Neon to come back into this game, especially when the Wraith does get Radiance. So that's what these teams were thinking with every pick that they made in this draft. If you guys like our draft analysis video and would like to watch me cast the games or just watch me live, you can come check out my Twitch channel in the description below. I stream 6 days a week and we got some great content there. Or if you would just like to spark up a conversation, just come over and say hi.